Okay, perfect. All right, everyone. Yeah, thank you again for joining. This is the how to get your resume viewed or any sort of resume tips for this webinar. But yeah, you guys gave so much love from the last webinar. I honestly was so overwhelmed just to see like what I could honestly just provide and just like support everyone here. Yes, hello, Claire. Yes, it's 10 p.m. where she is, so did want to give her a shout out because that's honestly so crazy that she was able to come. But yeah, without further ado, I did just want to jump right in just to respect everyone's time. And yeah, I hope that you overall take whatever it is from my experience or just anything to do with, yeah, what I could provide and support everyone here. But yes, I will leave some time at the end for a little Q&A. But without further ado, we're going to get started of how to make your resume viewed. Okay. And I wanted to shout out, what was it, Vanessa, because I wanted this denim background, and she did make a connection of the Cat's Eye Gap ad that was, yes, such a successful campaign. And so going into the agenda. So first, I'm going to again introduce myself as per usual, go into certain parts of resumes. So one, why a resume isn't even being seen, of how we could solve that issue, what recruiters look for, what the ATS looks for, as well as building a resume that gets views, and as also a demo of my personal resume. Okay. And then again, my name is Grace. I have my nickname is Jeemaahn because those are my initials. I would like to describe myself as a career mentor on LinkedIn. A few things about me: I'm very passionate about sharing my exclusive insight in all things job searching, strategy, portfolio building, networking, marketing, and more. And honestly, this is just the few webinars in the beginning, but I definitely have a lot more planned. And so, with my personal experience, I've gone through sort of campaigns with social media, or as well as brand activations, also known as like store displays or pop-ups or anything like that, as well as experiential marketing and editing. And I don't know how you got to this webinar, but again, thank you again for coming. And so you've seen me trying to dive into personal branding or anything to do with community management. That's something I am definitely striving for. And so again, in my experience, I would describe myself as a creative freelancer. I do work in social work, but I am making my way into marketing by, yeah, just kind of showing myself and being as loud as I can. And something that I definitely want to work on, and just if you were to take anything, is just me trying to bridge the gap between you and your dream job. And so we're going to go ahead and first get started into why your resume isn't being seen. And so I did want to start it off like my hook as to say the excuse is no longer I don't have experience, because the moment you tell yourself, I don't have experience, already your resume, your interview, and your confidence is going to reflect that mentality that, like, oh, I don't qualify for this job. They're looking for 8+ years of experience. I won't even try. And so for here, I did want to talk more about confidence, of how you even approach job searching in general. That will very much show in your resume, your interview, a lot more than you think. And so the first place I even wanted to bring up, it's how you reframe your experience to your dream job, right? It's on your confidence, strategy, and passion. So for example, I work in social work. When you think of that, that is the furthest you could think of when it comes to marketing or even beauty marketing in that matter. So at the beginning, I was at this job, I was presenting myself like, "Oh, so what do you do for work?" And I would say, "Oh, I'm in social work." "Oh, but that's not what I want to do." It's more so how I would say, I'm actually a marketer. And yes, my role in social work isn't where I want to be. I'm looking for an opportunity where I want to be in marketing so I could grow in a bigger capacity and work for a company that I support and value. See, like even those like two like different approaches to that conversation, you could see who is more confident and who is more kind of shy and not really knowing the industry. That's another thing I wanted to mention. So the next part I wanted to talk about was resume equals interview. So again, with the belief and almost like manifestation that you are this candidate and you're this role, not in a way where you're emotionally attached to the role, but more so you yourself are convincing this recruiter, this person, and almost yourself too of this is me. Like this job is meant for me. So in every keyword, every summary, every word is insightful to show that you are this person that you are applying for. And so again, going into the mistakes is you aren't educating yourself about the industry, company, and role. So again, I mentioned in my last portfolio workshop, but I didn't know that Canva and Adobe were competitors. But until I was educated, I knew that they probably were not thinking of putting me on their radar because I have been applying to Adobe roles using Canva. And so that completely docks me down as not even a candidate at this point. They just shoo me away. And so understanding the company, understanding the role and the industry of like they trust that you are like loyal and they like this company through and through. And so again, mastering keywords, understanding the industry, the way that you carry yourself, the way that you talk about the industry, like they will pay attention. So when I talk about marketing, I can't be vague. Like I'm going to be mentioning ROI, KPIs, different softwares to use, or anything like that to know that I actually know what I'm talking about. So again, with that same understanding, the way you don't show up is missing keywords, consistent present or past tenses. So let's say in my present job, I say I did this rather than I do this. That's something to pay attention about, as well as summaries that don't align. So making sure your resume summary, your LinkedIn summary reflect everything in your experience, as well as vague metrics. Again, I'll go into that, and as well as inconsistent job titles. And now I'm going to be transitioning into ATS, which is the applicant tracking systems. And so for those who are job searching and you might not know what this is definitely a very big gap that people don't really talk about. And so first you have to figure out how your resume is going to go through that system or that screening and filter, and then you impress the recruiter, and that's how it ends up being an interview. And so I'll go ahead, transition. And so, yes, you must be thinking, ugh, they ghosted me, or ugh, the system has automatically rejected me. And so I wanted to dive deeper into what recruiters and the ATS system actually look for. And so first, I wanted to do the ATS system, which is on the left column. So ATS system, they're only going to be looking at keywords. They're not going to be looking at, oh, like is she really involved in A, B, and C? It's just a system. Like really, really think logically of what you put on your resume. And something that they don't really talk about is ATS actually reads from left to right, not up and down. And so if your resumes are in columns, it will be really confusing for the system to read. So my resume is actually horizontal, right? So left to right, summary to summary, job to location, job to dates, right? And so again, incorporating action words, strategize, collaborate, manage, spearhead, anything like lead or promote, anything from words that like almost emit some sort of thing in terms of like your skill set, like leadership or anything like that, as well as metrics. So what I mean by metrics is you started off at this role, and what numbers could you provide that would help with the revenue or the growth or visibility in this brand or company that you're interested in? So again, I just throw in random numbers at this point. Growth by 32%, generate user traffic by 25%, or I created a social media campaign that would bring visibility and user traffic by 32%. Like that already is such a strong statement in your resume that will bump you up to say, oh wow, she made a difference, right? And as well as um, very reputable. companies, it doesn't necessarily say that you worked for Apple, but saying you made a campaign for this company, this company, this company, not necessarily saying that you worked there, but you have provided experience there. As well as graduation year, they do mention the graduation year because they track of whether you're too old or too young for a role that they would want you to be. So let's say you just got out of college, they might not be looking for someone who's in college, who just got out of college, excuse me. And then again, with certain locations, so whether you're too far or too close, they might consider the distance for you and just assume it for you again, as well as relevant skills. So usually on LinkedIn or any other job site, they mention skills. Honestly, I would just copy and paste those skills in your, what was it, in your resume at this point. And then we're going to go into the recruiter. And so this is very different from ATS because ATS is all logical, all numbers, all interpretation through information, right? Whereas recruiter, they're very big on impressions. So they read the resume vertically. So as I've mentioned, reading the resume horizontally versus vertically, those are different. And as well as just first impression, even seeing the paper without reading anything, that also is an impression as well. So they look for structure, clarity, and visually professional. That if you look at it, you can tell when someone is confident in the resume versus when they just took it off of Canva, right? And I will show more examples in the next slides, but they will be asking themselves these questions of consistency. Does this person have experience or expertise in this field? How long have they been in this job? Have they been in same or similar jobs enough where they, have a strong understanding of the industry? Or do their experience make sense for this role? As well as personality, do they see this person fit with our company values, with mental health or different mission statements or even beauty or anything like that? Because with your resume, it will lead to your brand. So, like I said in my portfolio workshop, your resume is just a resume, just experience, just pure information. And from there, they either get piqued or not. And when their interest is piqued, they will lead you to the LinkedIn or your portfolio to explore more of what that visually looks like in a person to person. Like, does this person fit in our brand? Does this person fit in our work culture? Right. And so, stuff like that. Again, with graduation year, with the ATS, when they kick you out because you're too young, versus do they see the amount of work compensated for the age? Because again, age doesn't say a lot of your experience. So they do compare the two, but in a more realistic way, as well as location, they will bring that up in interviews. They'll say like, hey, I noticed that you're from LA. Is this too much of a commute for you? And so they will ask you that. And so be prepared for that, as well as, again, different projects, freelance or work experience. It's not just limited to your work experience, because to be honest, I don't have too much work experience in marketing, but I've reworded and reframed. Like I said, I reframed my experience to show that I am in marketing. Like I am in marketing and I know that I'm in marketing and the other audience and the recruiter, the ATS, they see that I am in marketing because I strategize, I'm meticulous, and I'm very much calculative in what I put and how I carry myself. So again, with the confidence, again with experience, and again with keywords, like this is all encompassing of how you will get your resume through as well as just your interview as well, because should be one of the same. That your resume is extremely confident, but then when I talk to you, I don't see that, or vice versa, or anything. It's kind of like texting, right? If you're really, really confident through text, like I will read that as an impression, like, wow, this person's really social. But then when I meet you in person and it's like you're kind of quiet and like I have to carry the conversation, so you want it to be cohesive and you want it to be consistent. And so I actually did want to create more of an activity today. And so I wanted to reach out to you guys in the webinar. You could either unmute yourself or you could type it in the chat. of which one looks better. So these are two resumes that I've had over the years, and so I wanted to, yeah, engage with you guys and see what you can notice the differences are or anything like that. Oh, hello, Kellen. Yee. Okay. So Claire said the one on the left is better. Okay. You could describe why you think one is better than the other. Okay, Jocelyn said, I think the one on the left looks less cluttered. Okay, that's a good question, a good observation. So again, with the margins, that's also another question or another thing to wonder. It's clear the one on the left. Okay, very interesting. And then Tahia, sorry, I don't know if I pronounced that right. More detailed bullet points on the right. Okay, that's true. More information. I feel like the right looks better for me. Okay. These are really interesting. I actually never expected the different perceptions and interpretations that everyone has. But yeah, okay, too much white space on the left, in my opinion. That's true. Okay. Well, yeah, thank you again for sharing your comments. I don't know if anyone else has any more. But there is no, I wouldn't necessarily say one is better or worse than the other. Oh, here, let me answer. So Claire said, I was told to only log the last three, four jobs that were recent and then one bullet point for older jobs. Okay, yeah, that's true. So I would say, So yeah, the most recent jobs, I think it's like 5 to 10 years, right? Like you don't show jobs in the last 5 years or something. I forgot what that was. But yeah, that's true. And also it's depends on what those jobs were, whether they're older or newer, of what is most relevant. McKellen said it's a little blurry to see what each resume says, but at least on the right side. Yeah, that's true. I didn't want you guys to read it. I wanted to see what your impression was of visually what it looked like. Um, but yeah, okay, so with this activity, I actually wanted to show different perceptions of my experience of what worked better, what looked better, et cetera, et cetera. And so actually. So this is a before and after. So for everyone to say like, oh, this looks better, it's interesting because yeah, these were actually what I did back, I believe, honestly, like last year. So this was a year ago, and then this is my resume right now. And so as you can see, there's differences in the margins and just even the header itself, I didn't have a summary. I have a summary now. My name is a lot more bold and my information is all in one line. I have more experience here, so I put freelance experience, I put my work experience, I put projects and then skills versus I just have one long work experience. So again, visually, it looks different and see that there are certain parts that are bolded in my summary and in my experience because that itself would be like, hey, I want you to look at this. And so again, I'll go deeper into what that says. Kellen said, have you seen greater success with having a professional summary at the top of your resume? That's a great question. I would say yes, because the summary is kind of like what you kind of have to rehearse, even in an interview, right? When they say, thanks, Kellen. Thank you so much for coming into this role. Like, this is a little bit about the role, but actually, forget anything I just said. Tell me about yourself, right? Like, that's the first daunting question. And so, similarly, in a resume, that's what they look for. So, in my opinion, I would say incorporate a resume, but only if the resume is consistent with your experience. So, because I've sharpened and honed in my experience more, I have mastered the language more. So if you yourself aren't there yet, I would say, yeah, it could honestly be both. Because if, let's say, in the ATS, your summary doesn't have the right keywords, it actually might be detrimental, right? Because the ATS might just send you over and not put you through. And so I would say it's like kind of double-sided on the same coin. So it could be either a good thing where it could push you through, or it could be a bad thing where it actually might dock you out if you're not smart about it. And so I don't know if that answers your question, but again, keywords, like I've mentioned, keywords, um, different action words like strategize or conduct or accumulate, like promote growth or anything like that. And so, yeah. But yeah, if everything is okay, I'm gonna start moving on. Let me see. Mm, Kellen, you asked, how are you able to pull keywords from the job description? That's a good question. I would say, so specifically with different job roles, they might have a skill section at the bottom and it will say, this is what we're looking for. And so it could say 3 years of experience across this. And then another one, this person is very organized. They have, they're efficient in Microsoft Office, Microsoft softwares. In that section, I would actually like take one of the vague ones and just incorporate it in your resume. So, like for example, in my first resume, I just put the softwares that I used. Actually, yeah, I just realized that. And then I put social media campaign, marketing, communications, Spanish, and oops, we have 10 minutes. SEO, right? And so that's not like as specific versus I put in this one social media strategy, community management, customer service, sales, talent development, event coordination, content strategy, experiential marketing, merchandising. And then I also mentioned that in here as well. And so I was really specific in those ways. Tahia said there are some browser extensions that'll help you pull keywords from job descriptions, like Simplify or just paste it into ChatGPT and ask some, provide some keywords. Yeah, that's also a good resource. How are you able to ChatGPT? Hi, Than. I think that's how you pronounce your name. So sorry. Hi, Grace. Can you share with us your updated resume template if you don't mind? Oh, perfect. Actually, that's funny that you mentioned it because I was actually gonna go into a few tips and then we'll go into my resume. I do realize we have 8 minutes, so by the 8 minute mark, we could take a break and then you guys could leave the Zoom and then come back and then I'll go into my resume. But yes, again, building a resume that gets views. These are a few tips that I wanted to leave you with. And so the left to right, so I'll do confidence means more than you think. So like I said, the more mastery, the more deeper understanding that you have in the industry, the role, the company, or just yeah, just like what you want in a work. So like marketing, social media management, anything like that it actually affects you a lot more. So I actually wanted to bring up my coworker Doris. She actually gave me this tip because she had a coffee chat with Luis Toon. He's a LinkedIn influencer, and he did a coffee chat with her. And every personal summary, every resume summary that she had, she would always start it off with, "I'm a recent college grad." And so he immediately, like from that little sentence, he kind of like dove deeper into what that meant of you don't believe that you are experienced enough for this role. Just in that simple, I'm a recent college grad, because you're not saying that you're this marketing manager or HR coordinator or teacher that you want to be. Like you have to tell them, like, I'm telling you, I am in marketing because I have experience. I know the industry. Like, yes, my current role doesn't reflect that, but again, the role doesn't reflect who I am or what I want in a career because the role that I'm in right now is not my career, right? So I'm pursuing that career because I am in this career. I'm in the path to get there. And so it is a lot of reframing. And so another one is I would wanted to go into the demo of my resume, but also use other LinkedIn resumes and profiles in your field to reference in your own resume. So, for example, let's say I'm like, oh my gosh, I've used all the keywords, everything, all the experience that I could do, and I still don't feel confident in my role. So what I'll do is I'll go on LinkedIn, I'll look up any people that I'm like, oh hey, I really like their experience, and I honestly think I could get that experience too. So I will take certain keywords from that resume, from that profile, or I'll say, okay, I think what they did correctly, that strategy, I want to incorporate that in my own resume. So I'll go deeper into that with what was it, my resume demo. And then again, just simple, cut the fluff and think impact. So something again that I mentioned before was being vague. So being vague in a resume is actually more detrimental. So let's say I worked at a social media agency and I created content for them, right? So that's not contributing any sort of idea of what I have provided in that role. Versus, I could say, I created reels, shorts, TikToks, anything like that, and it was able to generate 25% of user growth and user traffic, as well as um, 1,300 followers in the span of 3 months, right? So all these numbers that you incorporate, it shows brands, it shows companies, it shows recruiters, and as well as the ATS system that you've done more than what you're saying, that you're bringing numbers and we trust numbers. Because at the end of the day, us hiring you means you need to improve the company somehow. So that's all that they care about. We can't think of like, oh, they won't like me as a person. Because at the end of the day, we work a job to provide something for the brand or company. So again, like Claire mentioned, using ChatGPT as a tool to look up, give me optimized keywords that are ATS friendly to incorporate into my resume. So that's also another one that I do. But again, it is kind of difficult to take advantage of ChatGPT because ATS is an AI system. So certain keywords, again, might throw you out. And so I would watch out for that as well. That yes, ChatGPT is a great tool, but again, they use ChatGPT to filter your resume. And so it's almost again the double-sided of the same coin. Again, lastly, make sure your LinkedIn and your resume are one and the same. Okay, yeah, I recently just added this because I remember I was telling my friend this because companies and recruiters will notice the inconsistencies. So even if it's like the timeline, right? Like let's say on my resume, I put 1 year at this company, but then on my resume or on my LinkedIn, it's a year, but on my resume, it's 3 months. Like they will notice that. Or like when I quit someplace, like they will notice that certain keywords, they will notice that. And so I definitely, again, your resume, your LinkedIn, your portfolio, your interview skills all should be one and the same, that you are confident in what you're saying, what you're doing. And so now we're going to go into a demo, but the meeting is going to end in 3 minutes. So we should be back. I'll say 2:35. You guys could come back and then we could go from there. But yeah, thank you for coming. Okay, perfect. All right, thanks everyone for coming back. But this is actually my current resume. So I did want to go kind of back and forth of what changes I've made throughout the year. Um, Let me see. So this is my current resume. So as I've mentioned before, I created a summary. I put my education, I think first versus at the bottom. Again, just before I again go deeper into my resume, this is an accumulation of all the people that have seen my resume where I've asked like, hey, can you let me know what works, what I could do better? You know, I'm taking every interview, every opportunity, every coffee exchange coffee chat exchange where I want to learn and get better and understand what's working, what isn't. Again, as a strategist. I just want to do that better. And so, like, for example, the most recent update that I made was I created more analytics. Someone, I think a recruiter, mentioned putting more numbers as well as bolding certain experience that I want recruiters to see. Again, I say recruiters, not the ATS, because those are different. Again, is something that I omitted is my location. And so I think at first I used to put my actual address, but I stopped doing that. Let me see if this is going to show. I don't know why it's not loading. But so yes, I stopped putting the exact location of my work. I just omitted it altogether. And certain roles that I've mentioned, I made sure that they were optimized for the role itself. So for example, this was a contract role, and so I put specialty at the end. And so specialists at the end. Sorry, I don't know why that zoomed. And then another thing. Another section that I incorporated was my freelance. So again, like I've mentioned, I don't have a lot of marketing experience. So on paper, my work experience, the only work experience that I really have are my two contract roles, right? Like on paper. But I have a lot of other works because I'm thinking, hey, that's not true. These, like, if I only had two work experience, then obviously no one's going to think that I do anything or accomplish anything. But I know that for a fact that that is not true, that I only have these work experience. So I wanted to incorporate my sales experience at 24 Hour Fitness. Shout out 24 Hour Fitness. That was a good job because I learned what it was to build trust, to build loyalty, and to achieve sales. And so that was a really good learning opportunity, as well as my current role. I'm actually a talent development specialist, but I do volunteer for our marketing group at my work. And so I incorporated what I do. I also use a good amount of Salesforce tools as well. But again, going into my freelance experience, I actually do a lot of like content creation, I would say. I do a lot of content, and obviously, if you're here from LinkedIn, I've actually generated 2,000 followers in the span of like 3 or 4 months, which has honestly been really overwhelming because I wanted to create this community where we could all, seek support, seek insight, but also just like root for each other as we're trying to beat the job market. And I also have created different campaigns. I've worked with different creators. I've consulted with different brands. And yeah, I just do that on my own as a whole. And so I wanted to incorporate that somehow. And then I also incorporated a section of projects, right? So yeah, I was featured in the Wall Street Journal. Like, I'm gonna put that. I also, it was last year, but I actually volunteered for Academy Oscars after party. So again, not every opportunity was paid or contracted, but it literally was just one day, right? So I'm gonna incorporate that as well as in my undergrad years. I coordinated art shows for honestly about I coordinated two art shows with my classmates. One was for 5 people, and one was for around like 13. And then again, I was more specific with the certain skills. So, like I said, social media strategy, community management, customer service, sales. Event coordination, anything like that. And then again, with the different softwares I use, Canva, Adobe Creative Suite, MailChimp, CapCut. And then these are also another great thing to use is Asana. They use that pretty often. There's Notion, again, LinkedIn, and then again, Microsoft. And then I'm proficient in Spanish. But yeah, and then again, at the top, I put my portfolio and my LinkedIn because if you attended my portfolio workshop, I mentioned that if there are 100 resumes, how would you stand out? So their impression, they might have been like, oh, okay, like she has pretty good experience, but what then? So then they go to my LinkedIn and my portfolio to see if that's consistent, and then they would receive that would also proceed me into an interview. But in the ATS, so again, like I've mentioned, they read horizontal. So they're reading from left to right, left to right, left to right, left to right. So I put my time of date as well. Um, horizontally. Um, what else is there? I think Dash is also more optimized because I don't know if you've heard this, but ChatGPT, they're more optimized with dashes. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like easier to read. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it on my current resume. But I did want to show you a certain strategy that I had of me looking for different people on LinkedIn that I personally follow. So I'll go ahead and transition into LinkedIn. So I'll go here and I will look up someone in, let's say, social media marketing. Oops, media marketing. And then I'll say um, rare beauty, right? And I want to look for someone in my level of expertise. So I'm going to click people and then I will click. So yeah, I'm obviously not going to do manager because I'm not a manager at all. But yeah, so I'm going to probably be looking for coordinator roles, right? So I'll probably click coordinator. I don't know why it's lagging. Hmm. Hmm. I don't know why it's lagging. Is it lagging for you guys?
Yeah, it's lagging as for me, but then I'm in a different country, so
Thank you, Claire. Okay, let me see. Oh, oops. So sorry. It is lagging. Anyways, so yes, I will click on, let's just say Catherine, and I'll go to her experience. So I'm not too familiar with consumer marketing, but let me see. Okay, so again, I go into her. So unfortunately, she doesn't have too much on her work experience for me to like refer to just because she just has the role. So I just wanted to show you what I would look for if I were to be looking for someone in the expertise. But then thankfully, I pulled out some people that I was already interested in. So this is Jasmine Torres. She was the senior manager at community growth and partnerships at Milk Makeup. Unfortunately, she just got laid off. And so I was actually shocked just because her work experience was so reputable. And I know for a fact that she's created so much. Yeah, she's just contributed so much to the company. And so I did also just want to shout out her just because I think it's just crazy that she's just honestly so valuable as a worker and layoffs are just layoffs and now she's looking just as much as we are and so I just wanted to shout her out. And so yeah, again, she was an influencer relations specialist, so something that she was successful in is yeah, she surpassed a monthly goal of 60 million. That's amazing. Executing marketing, influencer marketing strategies and partnerships, right, to boost awareness, community engagement and conversion. Like that's a great what was it, keywords that you could incorporate in your resume. Built and manage a creator network, again, metrics of 5,000 influencers, executing, seeding, events, and paid partnerships, tracked, analyzed, optimized, but again, past tense optimized because this was an old role. So yeah, that's great. And then I see, she bumped up to manager. She increased monthly earned value by this much, this much, this much, right? Scaled, pitched, concepted. Do you see all the keywords that omit and give off a very strong confidence in the roles? And so that's something I wanted to emphasize as much as I could. Again, such amazing like work experience. Partner, I've had of marketing, manage and mentor, oversee and optimize, maximize ROI, earned media. So the reason why I show you these profiles is because I wanted to show you that these are great examples to refer to. Like, what is her strategy? What keywords is she using that got her a senior manager position at Milk Makeup, right? And so another profile I want to show you is, again, if you were at my what was it, my portfolio workshop, this is another person. So she actually mentioned I mentioned her portfolio, but again with her resume. So what about her resume that makes it Tatcha level? So again, she worked for Kendo Brand, so obviously like that's amazing. And so she analyzed, she did sales and service expert, she built, fostered lasting relationships. She performed routine merchandising, again, with public relations coordinator. So again, with all these titles, they're applicable to so many roles in the specific companies that she was in. And so that's another one. And then what I wanted to mention was, what was it? Oh, I guess she doesn't have her information. But again, track record, campaign managers, identify ideal candidates. So again, with Elisa Cohen. And then this is the one that I actually refer to for my resume, for my LinkedIn profile. I wanted to be as optimized as her profile because I noticed that she had a lot. She had a lot of keywords and everything. And the moment I saw her profile, I was like, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. Like my profile does not look like anything like this. And so obviously with her work that's so reputable, I knew that obviously it's really hard to find an internship or a role that would be in this kind of brand, but I know that the certain keywords that she used, like that, it was just so confident and like she knew what she was talking about, and I knew that I needed to get to this level. And so again, maintained and managed social media channels from, again, specific, oops, so sorry. It's saving um my recording. Oops, so sorry. What was it? Okay. So anyways, maintained and managed social media channels, including Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Again, delivered monthly reports to assess performance, create more marketing campaigns, LinkedIn posts, Instagram captions, managed community management, social media trends. So again, all of this is redundant, but all to say is I am again an accumulation of all the things that I'm learning. So I used her experience and I was like, I need to get there. And so yeah, just look for different profiles. And then again, she incorporated digital freelancer. And I was like, oh, I could very much use my experience in that way as well. And then another thing that was successful for her was, oh, okay, I thought she had her resume, but I guess, oh no, I think that was Alyssa. Yeah, Alyssa has her resume like at the top of her LinkedIn. So again, recruiters checking out your profile, like I would mention that as well. Making sure your LinkedIn profile is even public, because if it's private, recruiters aren't going to even connect with you. They might just want to look at it and see. So that's also another fact, or another tip. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I did want to go back to my presentation. Okay. And then I did want to give a time for Claire because she is in England, I think, right? And then it's currently 11 p.m. right there. And these are the questions that she asked during the week. So I did want to give a special time for her. So what content to put in your CV and what not to, correct CV templates to use. So again, with the certain content, it really just depends on the work that you, or the role that you want, or what kind of experience you have. So whatever, because you don't need to put every single work experience in your resume. That's not the goal. It's what roles are most optimized for the role that you're applying for, right? So like, for example, I was an art teacher back in the day. That was like the only work experience I had. I'm not going to put my art teaching experience on a resume when I'm trying to get into marketing because it doesn't seem to like a lot of the things that I learned in my art teaching experience couldn't be applicable to the roles I'm applying for. So I don't know if that answers your question. But again, going into the next question, should you put hobbies and interests or should you leave that for your portfolio? I think that's also a great question because again, what is most optimized for your portfolio? So if you're more accomplished in your extracurricular, I would put that in your resume and portfolio because obviously um, you can't put too much that is too freelance because they do want to see that you do have work experience. But all in all is they want you to see that you've accomplished something or done something that contributes metrics. So but yeah, that basically leaves all the time. But yeah, I'll leave time for a Q&A if any of you guys have anything. But yeah, thank you again for coming. I incorporated all of my information from my link tree to all the socials as well as my portfolio to refer to, which also has my resume that you guys could even look to. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm gonna read the chat now. Thank you, Grace. I just had a question about the portfolio, but shall I email you or DM you? Oh yeah, yeah. You could if it's personal, like for your own portfolio or anything like that. Yeah, feel free to just DM me, Claire, since it's late. Of course, Vanessa. Will you share the slides? Yes, I will, Claire. I will share it by today. Okay, so Thon, you asked. Neat. Thanks, Claire. Let me see. Okay, do you have any YouTube accounts to suggest us to learn about designing on portfolio on Canva? Yeah, I actually had a portfolio workshop. I don't know if you were there for that one, but specifically, yeah, well, I would also refer to the webinar just because I actually had some resources of different portfolios that I myself was inspired by to design on Canva. Um, but I don't know any specific portfolios or people that have taught me to use portfolios. Um, Sorry to ask, but how can I access your last webinar? Yeah, yeah, that's great. How about this? I will actually, will you be hosting the portfolio webinar? I found your profile after the event already happened. Yeah. How about this? I'll just show you guys, since you're both asking. Feel free to type it in the chat or unmute yourself.
I just want to take a moment to say that I think what you did I missed like the first half of this meeting because I was in another meeting, but what you did with the recreating various, um kind of portfolios with different brands and things like that, that was really, really cool. And I love
Oh
that.
wow. Oh wow, thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys even have any like portfolio questions, I'm also free to answer any of those. Since I already have what was it? Yeah. Oh, let me see. Oh, here we go. I have my or essentially the same things I would say. Let me see. Canva has a website feature to publish your work with the domain. Yeah, so that's true. I personally don't use that just because I I just use the free version. So like here, let me type mine. So yeah, for example, this is my website and portfolio name. So I would say that. Let me X these out. I've created a portfolio and it slides across, but I wanted to go up and down like a web page. Oh, okay, okay. How about this? Goes up and down. So I should go. Okay, so in order to add more to your page, I believe you add, no, that's add page. I believe you add section. So I believe I'm on the website. Yeah, I'm on website. So I think that may have answered your question. So I'm not on portfolio, I'm on website so that when I click add section, it adds below. Let me see. Why isn't it working? Was it a template you used? I did not use a template. I used a blank because I'm trying to make my own style. So yeah, if you add section, it will go below like this. So just add a section. hmm But then if I click add page, it will add a page below. Well, right now it's, yeah, like vertical. So then it will go below. If that answers your question. Let me see. That's where I think I gone wrong. That's okay. It's not end all be all. I would make another scratch of a website and then you're allowed to copy and paste. Like you have to like drag everything. So copy and paste to another. So that's the nice thing about Canva is that when you like did a wrong format or it's just something's wrong with it, like I could just, or if I even want to duplicate a project, I could just copy and paste and it's optimized that way. Does a website link expire when you're free trial? No, no. It's so the only downside is obviously because people want your domain to be your domain. I tried my best not to do it because I don't want to pay for a domain because at the end of the day, like I'm not like a business. I'm just a person. And so I've just been using the free one this whole time. And so that's okay. But the thing is, you have to say published website. So you have to do publish. So the only downside is that you can only publish, I believe, like 5 websites at a time. So yeah, I would say that. Anyone else? Oh, the meeting will end in 10 minutes, so that'll be the last. Anyone else? I have nearly finished my portfolio and I shall send it to you. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I can't wait to see Claire. Okay, if no one has any other questions, I think I'm gonna call it in about 2 minutes.
Thanks so much, Grace, for this. It's been so useful, and you're
Oh,
you're
yay.
so inspirational to me. So I'm like, oh, she's doing another webinar.
Oh, yay. Oh,
Yay!
thank you so much, Claire, for coming. I really appreciate it. And yeah, no,
Oh,
please, please rest. Honestly, all of this will be recorded so that you could rewatch it if you missed anything. But yeah, no, thank you for coming.
no, it's my pleasure, but thank you, and I hope you do more of these because it's so
I will.
useful.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will. Oh, thank you for coming, Claire.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, of course. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye. I wasn't aware. You're open to seeing our portfolios. I'll send you mine if that's okay. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, feel free to put it in the chat and then we could go over it together. It's not done yet. Oh, yes, yes, of course. Okay, well, if that's the case, I think I'm gonna call it here, everyone. But again, yeah, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciated it. Oops. I really appreciated it. But yes, this will all be recorded and all the slides will be public. Um, but yeah, oh wait, let me see. Yes, thank you again, Claire, for coming. I always appreciate it. But yeah, without further ado, I'll let everyone go, but I hope everyone has a great weekend or anything like that. I don't know where everyone is right now, but yeah, have a great day and take care of ourselves. And yeah, we'll start again tomorrow. So, all right, have a good one, everyone.